Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich.
When I saw the first race, I was like giddy.
Actor Ewan Ryan.
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
And so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
People will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Ah, the web tore. Those that both creators and were created by the threads disentangle from the fringes to feast on the very thing that spawned them.
What's up, Timmy? This is how you deal with weird!
No! Do not harm my children! Oh, you lost a feather. Can I keep it?
No, you can't force me to!
Do you know what lies within nothing?
Rocket is in trouble, Akasa! Can we turn on the windshield remotely?
No, she could lose her job as an Akasar.
I don't fear Vehar.
No, but you fear me. If you intend to trick me, I will not hesitate to sever the oath bond entirely.
Why didn't you help me? Coward! I don't have a parachute! I don't like free falling!
Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.
Welcome to episode 2 of Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a weekly podcast where we discuss every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one at a time in thrilling chronological order. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristin Russo, and this week, on our second episode, we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 2, The Harvest.
Spooky.
Yeah, I was just proud of myself for remembering the name because my copy is from last episode.
You did a great job.
So
same deal as last episode. We're going to talk about the show for as long as it takes for us to air most of our feelings. And then at the end of this episode, you can hear my weekly recap song, recounting the most important events of today's episode.
Yeah.
Whee!
Can't wait for that.
Me neither.
I'd like to say for the record that I've been asked to be an official part of the songwriting process. So, down the line.
Our song.
Yeah, I'm just down the line when you're rolling in all that sweet cash.
Yeah, I see a hefty revenue stream opening up.
You joke, but
I guess one never knows. But let it be known here, now, and forever and always, you are the Kathleen Brennan to my Tom Waits.
Oh, that's so nice.
All of my decent ideas are made much, much better by your contributions and careful editing and thoughtful suggestions.
Thank you, and you are welcome.
But we're not here to talk about our creative collaboration. Well, I guess we kind of are. I guess this is.
We're here to talk about
vampires.
Okay.
Vampires.
Yes. As usual, I have a lot to say about this episode, but I'm gonna defer to you to start because I feel like you took some notes. I took some notes too. We take notes. It's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking way less notes than I did the very first time we watched, and you're probably taking more notes than the first time we watched.
I stayed about consistent, but yeah, Jenny, what did you take? 17 pages of notes?
On the first, listen, it's not important.
It's fine, whatever. We've learned our ways. We're already season 1, episode 2.
Yeah.
Deep into the thick of things here.
Deep into the thick.
So what did you think? What did you think of The Harvest?
Man, it really made me remember that season 1 is season 1, you know?
Yeah, well, My first note was, Buffy sure does learn how to run and kick better as the series goes on.
Yeah, that was one of my notes too. Running through the graveyard right at the opening of the episode, she
hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah,
it's a new graveyard.
New graveyard. She is wearing complicated shoes.
Yeah,
maybe
wedges,
that's part of
probably.
It. Wedges or like chunky heels, maybe. I think we see them later in the episode.
A chunky heel is a wedge. That's the same thing?
No, because a chunky heel is like a thick heel. But there's still separation between the heel and the...
Does it have to be together?
I'm not a shoe doctor, but I feel like a wedge is a shoe that has one complete piece.
All right. Well, we have our first question for our listeners.
Yeah. If you have any feedback, if you have any
we
answers,
would like to know
if shoe doctors.
If a wedge has to be not a separate chunky heel, or if a wedge can be its own heel. Right?
Yes.
Great.
That's today's first big mystery.
First big question. But yeah, Buffy's learning her way, as is Sarah Michelle Gellar, about like running
and like holding her fists and looking like she knows what she's doing.
Right.
While she does that. Yeah, it's a lot. Although points for breaking off that pine branch, improvisation, resourcefulness.
She's very resourceful.
Super effective.
Or resourceful, as my wife says. You do. You say resourceful, not resourceful.
Is that wrong?
No.
They're both right?
Yes. We're
agree
both right.
to agree.
I, not intentionally, but there were some gay notes that I took this time.
Gay ones.
My next note is a gay note, because the first time that we see Jesse is down in the wherever you call that thing. What do you call that thing where they are? In the crypt? In the hellmouth?
What could you be more specific?
Where they are, down underneath the ground. Like when they go through the crypt, the mausoleum to get to the place where the master is that the...
Oh, right. Yeah. We don't really know. Like,
it's
I don't
the
think
entrance
it's been named,
to the hellmouth or something.
Well, I think at this point a hellmouth is not open. Like the hellmouth is sort of like the whole town.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And he, the master, was trying to open the hellmouth, right? And he got trapped because he like did a spell wrong.
Do you know what looks the most like a hellmouth to me so far?
What?
His mouth.
It is a hellmouth.
I can't wait. I don't know what happens with the master, if he's gone, if he comes. I can't stand to look at his mouth.
That grape juice mouth?
Oh God, it's horrible. But what I wanted to talk about was, and this is now that I've seen the whole episode, it's the first of many moments of gay Luke. But Luke so sensually grabs Jesse's neck. It's just so sensual. And I thought, first I thought he's a gay vampire. And then I thought maybe vampires are all bisexual.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right?
I think you'd know better than me because I think you've read a little bit more Anne Rice than me, but I feel like in her mythology, feeding sort of takes the place of
sex.
Sexual activity.
I actually don't remember that coming from Anne Rice, but I did read a lot of Anne Rice as a kid, so maybe I absorbed that. But I definitely feeding is sexual and they feed off of whomever.
Yeah, and like just flashing forward because like whoever the pairing is for this episode's Sexual Tension Award, one end of it is going to be Luke, and it's either Luke and Jesse or Luke and the Master because yikes, when it's vessel time. Yeah,
I have notes on that.
Oh, did you write down their dialogue? Well, okay, we'll get to that.
I did write down their dialogue, but I'm going to just like before we get to actually sorting the evidence of who has the most sexual tension, I am awarding it to Luke and Jesse because I refuse to have to think more
about the master.
About the rest of it. Yeah, I can't. His mouth is it's just so I can't. There's very few things that have upset me more than looking at his mouth.
It is a bummer. Sarah Michelle Gellar looking especially 12 years old.
Yeah.
As you pointed out in this episode.
Cherubic.
Woo.
Cherubic. There's a moment, so not to jump around too much, because we will get back to the gay stuff. I have more gay questions, but
wait. is every episode of the show going to be you finding the gay?
I mean, I didn't do it on purpose.
It found you.
Yes.
Okay.
So no, like I'm not going to intentionally find the gay, but like based on my career choices to date, I will likely see more gay than the average Joe. But what I wanted to say is this is not a gay thing, but after we come out of the scene with Luke where they're like, the scene with Jesse and Luke where they're like, you're bait, well, then we come back to the library, which was a nice cut, editor. You did a great job with that cut. I thought it was really solid. But like Willow is at a computer in the library and first, Buffy was leaning over her so closely, and I was like, this is really awkward. Maybe I'll make a note of it, and then I didn't. And then, like, 2 seconds later, Giles is leaning over her. So I'm going to, like, on our socials, I'm putting this up. Like, I'm putting this side by side.
You're going to make a gift set?
I'm going to make a gift set of Willow just being, like, really too close to everyone and not seeming to mind. It's like, I feel like because computers were new, like, directors didn't know how to stage, like, two people looking at a computer.
Right.
So.
And also they thought maybe everybody's focus would be on the computer and not on, like, the lack of respect for personal space.
Yeah, but you can't even see, in the shots, you can't even see the computer. It's just, I'm excited about the gifts, is all I'm going to say. That's really
Me too.
Something.
I feel like there are, like, a lot of important sort of touchstone precedents getting set in this episode. Like, we see a very meaningful look pass between Giles and Buffy when he's like, do I need to tell you to be careful? And she, like, just looks at him.
Yeah.
And then she leaves. And I feel like we're about to see that look about 7,000 more times.
Aww.
Also, I feel like there's this amazing, very fast zoom in on Giles. He's just surrounded by books. And then zoom, and he looks up. And And he did a lot of, like, taking his glasses off, putting his glasses back on, you know, like following his sort of like thought patterns. So
there were a few very dramatic like moments like that with both Giles and the Master. The Master has a really good dramatic moment that I didn't write down what he says when he turns around, but it's like the music swells, the camera zooms in, he turns around, he delivers one line.
He says a Slayer.
Oh, great. Great.
Which is hilarious because his last line in the previous scene that was in the vampire cave, that's what I'm calling it, was a Slayer. And then they come back to the cave.
Oh, I wonder how many times he says the Slayer in total. Maybe we could do a mashup of that.
Yeah.
Can you tell I'm social media minded?
Yeah, you are
great content
at the bit. Another thing that I feel like really starts to take shape in this episode that we're going to see a lot more of is Xander being the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I did not mind. I like enjoyed Xander watching this show when I was younger, but like, oh my God. Has there ever been a more clear embodiment of a dude just being like, oh, things aren't just the way I want them. I'm going to kick a filing cabinet.
Okay. Well,
no.
I think, no I mean,
not
listen,
on board.
I'm always on board to be like, women rule, men drool. But also, if you can't tell, I'm really good at insults.
That was good.
But yes, Xander is like, Buffy couldn't possibly do this on her own. I will help. And like, but I'm so angry.
And can't be told anything.
But it is, but it's cut with something. Like, it's not just that. It's not like, it didn't make me angry. I didn't feel angry about Xander. And it's very easy for men to make me angry. So I feel like.
Maybe
I think you're on fire today. You've been a little bit.
It's been a weird couple of days. I'm on high alert.
Yeah. So
high alert.
Because I think that the bigger thing that reads to me with Xander is that he just is like puppy dog eyes for Buffy. And like, it feels on this episode, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I will get all into it if it doesn't feel like this to me. But this episode very much felt to me that Xander was like, but I love her, you know, like, what if something happens? Like, it didn't feel very, like, mansplainy to me.
Okay.
I mean, I will get there with you.
Yeah.
But
plenty of time with Xander.
Yeah.
Sorry for getting ahead of myself.
No. I think it's a good conversation to have. And you were talking about like important things that happen in this episode. My next note is, in all caps, remember when Angel said his name, dark and mysterious, man revealed. That's what I wrote.
Well said. God, I just love that. My favorite thing about season 1 might be that we see Angel in a way that like we don't ever see him really again. He's like dark and sarcastic and like mysterious, and like there are like 17 things happening on his face at one time, and I don't even think he's doing it on purpose. David Boreanaz, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like there's like brooding and like care and disbelief and disassociation and like everything all at once.
And you think that goes away? I mean, no spoilers, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it changes, but I feel like Angel to me is always those things.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just peak hot.
I mean, yeah. Also, not to take us off track from peak hot Angel, but I feel like every single time I watch an episode of early on Buffy, I feel as though they all of their wardrobe is from the Limited too. Like just every piece of it is. And I know it's just me conflating my memory of the time with the Limited too, but like, you know what I mean? Except for Buffy's leather jacket.
Oh my good God. Please someone give me that leather jacket.
You please do so that I can wear it.
The most beautiful thing. It might be the best piece of clothing that ever appears on the show, that leather jacket.
For sure. I think it might be too.
Will we ever see it again in a subsequent episode?
I don't know, because I've never really seen the first season start to finish, and I don't remember being obsessed with any leather jackets. So maybe maybe something happens to it. I don't know. But, my next note is about Luke being gay again.
Oh, please
This time
go on.
with the Master. I wrote down, Luke says, "My blood is your blood. My soul is your soul." And the Master says, "My body is your instrument."
I just want to... Yeah.
Wait.
The Master says, "My blood is your blood.
I reversed it. Yeah.
And Luke says, my body is your instrument. Like, get a room.
My body is your instrument.
Get a cave.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
And then I wrote, Luke is the gayest blood-sucking beefcake. That was my complete
He really is. Like, I don't think we've seen how jacked he is until, he takes his jacket off. Is that when he's doing the blood
he's
thing
like
with
wearing
the Master
this,
or later?
I don't like
the bronze.
When he's wearing the tank.
Does he get all the way down to a tank top?
I don't know. Maybe maybe I got
t-shirt,
ahead of myself.
But his muscles are so huge that you're like, what even is a t-shirt?
But I think in that scene, or maybe it's at the bronze, he's wearing like a chain necklace that's really tight around his neck, which I spent a lot of time in gay bars in the 90s and the early 2000s. And I just want to say, like, I feel like they knew what they were doing in this episode with his wardrobe, because they saw a lot of that.
Oh. Not from the Limited too.
No. I mean, maybe it was from the Limited too for small girls, and he was just wearing it around his beefcake neck. But yeah, that is a deliberate scene. It's like I wasn't sure with Jesse, but it was pretty deliberate with the Master. I feel like the dialogue was written specifically.
Que Romantica.
Yeah. My body is your instrument.
Not to hop and skip all around, but how about that sick burn when Buffy's like, "Do you even know what it's like to have a friend?" to Angel? And he's like, pregnant silence.
His whole face just crumbles. It's so sad. It's like, I feel like even though I know it's just a TV show and they're acting, like part of me feels like the acting stopped in that moment and everybody was like, "Oh no. Do you have David Boreanaz? Do you have friends?" It was it was very believable.
Yeah.
And very sweet, and very sad, and very sexy.
Also, how shiny were her pants?
Oh my God.
How shiny were the pants that she chose to wear?
Limited too. Limited
Vampire Underground.
Yeah, Limited 2. They were very shiny. They took me by surprise. And we must have only seen her from the waist up for the first half of the episode.
I also love how when the rat runs over her foot, she doesn't move. She's
I
just
like that a lot.
There's a rat on my foot.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. Do you think it was because when they shot the rat running over somebody else's shoes, the person whose shoes it was forgot to move their foot, and they were like, well...
And then the rat got away?
Well, no, they were just like, well, we only have this one take, so...
Maybe. Also, how about, I feel like it's worth noting that we see, after stupid Xander, stupid follows Buffy.
Wow, a lot of Xander hate.
I don't know what my problem is. I'm sorry. This isn't me. After Xander follows Buffy and brings no tools of use and no skills to the table, and they're just walking down this long corridor forever, and I don't think we ever see anything like that ever again in the show. Like, just like with him skateboarding up to the entrance of the school, I feel like there's so much that happens in the two-part, like the Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest, that's the people making the show figuring out like how to make this show, you know? So we like see them walking forever in the tunnel, and Buffy's dutifully like looking at like the pipes running down the tunnel and like touching things while Xander goes on about how he didn't bring anything with him.
Right. Which just to, I won't derail you too much here, but like, I think that is part of the reason why I didn't feel like it was very like Xander saying like, I can do things. Like Xander was very like, I brought this flashlight. Like he definitely did not have any like sort of ideas that he was going to actually help.
No. I mean, between him being into Buffy and him like being worried about his friend.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. This is like the only time you will ever hear me talk somebody else out of thinking. I don't know what's gotten into me.
No, I think I am in need of your counsel in this moment.
But I didn't mean to derail you. They were walking down. Buffy was touching all the pipes.
No, I was done. It's just like this shot that goes on forever. That's like not very compelling, and I feel like it's something that was like conceptualized before they knew what it would look like. They planned for it. They did it, and then it was like, oh, this isn't like as exciting. And a lot of their movement through the corridors, once they like find Jesse and then they like, you know, are running from the vampires, it just sort of feels like this doesn't feel real. It just kind of feels like put together, and they're not like running once they find Jesse. They're just walking kind of slow.
Right.
You know, and then they get into that room, or before they get into that room, one of the last like moments where they see a vampire like leering at them from around a corner. It's this bananas looking like Pennywise style, like wild, like almost clownish looking.
Yeah, which is like the Master is very clownish, I think.
Oh, maybe that's, I wonder if that was like...
They were all a little bit more clownish than they winded up.
Yeah, they definitely, I mean, the look of the vampires definitely evolves over the seasons, and especially like Joss talks a lot in the director's commentary about how they like did all of the vampires in vamp face for these episodes,
which is like powdery almost, like they're lighter, their skin is lighter than the rest of their bodies, a lot of them, right?
And they have like ridge, like their features are dramatic. You know, they have like the forehead ridges, and I think their cheekbones sometimes are like a little accentuated. But he talks about how they did that because they wanted it to like look cool and vampy, and then it like took so long every time they needed to do a scene with anybody in vamp face that they were like, let's just have the vampires be in human face unless there's like a really good reason for them to be in vamp face in a given scene. Right.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess there is a lot more vamp face than
we see
later on. Mm-hmm. I didn't really make that connection. I would like to take a moment to say that I believe that this episode is the first time that we meet. Do we even learn her name?
Oh, Harmony?
Harmony, yeah.
I can't remember if she was in the first episode or not. Because she's definitely a Cordelia Crony from like...
Yeah, maybe I just didn't get excited the first time. I don't know why, because I love Harmony. I love Harmony.
Yeah, you probably would have gotten excited. Okay.
Probably.
Not that
I don't remember.
I've listened back to episode 1.
Just so you all know, listening to this, we'll be doing these episodes closer together than the first and the second because there has been we did the first episode and then I think a month at least passed.
Significantly more than a month.
Significantly more than a month passed.
We don't need to talk about how long it was, but there was a lot of travel, a lot of sorting stuff out. But now we are back on track.
Back on track. But that's why I think
we can't
typically I would remember if I
Yeah.
saw Harmony, last week, but it's been a few months, so I don't remember anymore.
But very exciting to see Harmony in.
Gosh,
great
I just
form.
love her. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, shout out to my friend and yours, Stephen Smith, as the like skater looking stoner dude who like pops out from behind the corner to be like, yeah, really? Why?
Do you want to talk about why you know that person? Because I don't know that.
Yeah, well, Stephen has done a lot of things. He was the host of Stephen's Untitled Rock Show, and more recently, he created a podcast that our friend Jonah co-hosts called Going Off Track, which is a really great podcast. And that is how we know Stephen.
And that's where he got his start, right?
I think I think California Dreams.
Oh.
Remember that show about the band?
Kind of. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
I watched it, but I do remember it.
Yeah.
I said to Jenny while we were watching this episode that I would pay good money to be able to watch the episodes with the original commercials. I would just love to know. We can have a whole separate podcast of talking about the commercials between episodes of Buffy.
Woo!
Right?
Yeah, that would be so good.
If you could ever find it. That would be very hard to find.
There's definitely people in this world who VHS taped every episode of the show as it happened.
And you think they would send us?
I don't think they're going to send us anything.
Digital file.
And if they sent us the VHS tapes, what would we do with them?
We would get a VCR immediately. I can't believe we don't have one. I had one forever.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the skin-safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristin Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristen, and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used 1 billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin lotion, the moisturizer that I used, and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you. So I want to talk about something which we haven't really met Harmony too much yet, but a note that I took right after Harmony with lots of Ys, because I got excited, is Cordelia. Cordelia has my heart. If you need to know, it's Cordelia.
Mm-hmm.
She really gets me.
She's so mean.
She is. But it made me start thinking about the trope of the mean girl, in Mean Girls, for example, the head bitch. I'm just going to call her that. I don't know if Jenny dropped her belongings when I said bitch. She's very offended.
How dare you?
But that idea of this bossy mean girl, which Cordelia is that. She's very much written as that trope, right? That she loves to shop and she just loves to gossip and she loves to this and that. And so I was thinking about it as we were watching the episode, because she's also incredibly strong and outspoken, and just thinking from a feminist standpoint about Cordelia and just the trope overall of the mean girl, it's the mean girl does things that are crappy, and usually to other women, which is part of the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're like very, I don't know. I feel like they really push back against a lot of what a woman is supposed to be. You know, the typical woman, air quotes, is supposed to get like flustered around cute boys and like whatever. And for the most part, Cordelia is just like, you know, putting them out like cigarette butts underneath her feet. Like she is unapologetic. And there's a lot like upsetting about some of the unapologetic stuff that she does, but I think that it's really hard to be a woman and be unapologetic. And I guess, you know, growing up, I always thought about the mean girl as the mean girl. Like that was it. It was just like very simple. Like you were a mean girl and you were bad, or you were not a mean girl and you weren't bad. And thinking about Cordelia today and watching her move around, I was like, it's so much more complicated than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my feminist rant for today.
That was very good.
What do you think?
I'm on board with what you're talking about. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm excited to watch Cordelia broaden a little bit. Because I feel like you have the benefit of knowing kind of like where she goes to. Like, I feel like, you know, like she's pretty two-dimensional at this point.
Yeah, she is. But I think even if I didn't, I'm really not like even going, I mean, obviously I can't unknow what I know about Cordelia, but like I'm just going off the very basic trope of the mean girl. And I'm like thinking a lot about Mean Girls, you know, like, yeah, there's a lot of troubling stuff and a lot to pull apart, but it isn't just this like black and white thing of this girl is a horrible bitch. It's like, well, but also let's think about the fact that she is like speaking very loudly and she's unapologetic and she's doing what she wants. And like, you know, so I don't think it has as much to do with like the three-dimensionality of future Cordelia as it does with me just being like, you know, this is not like the trope of the mean girl. There's a lot there. I'm sure that lots of people have done their dissertations on this. I'm certainly not the first to talk about it, but Cordelia.
If you wrote your dissertation.
Yeah, please send it in.
On the trope of the mean girl.
We'll do an episode just reading your dissertation word for word.
Probably take a lot longer than talking about the episode.
So yeah, that's my Cordelia rant for today, my feminist rant.
That was really good.
Thank you.
I have a rant.
Yes, what is your rant?
Does anyone ever go to the library at Sunnydale High School?
No.
Has anyone ever walked into that library for any reason other than to talk to Giles about vampire slaying?
No.
Just tumbleweeds and the Slayer gang.
I mean, I don't remember my high school library being a very populated place. Was yours?
Yeah.
I mean, like people were in it, but more than zero were in it. I'll give you that.
More than zero, so.
But I feel like when I went to the library in high school, it was very rarely the school library. It was often the town library. I don't remember I really don't remember doing much in my high school library. I don't remember what it looks like.
Really?
I don't even remember and I love I'm not like, I love libraries, I love books, but I don't remember spending time inside of my I think I didn't I did theater, so anytime that I was somewhere that wasn't in a class that I had to be in, I was in the theater or like the chorus, you know, rooms or something like that. But other than that, if I didn't have to be in school, I wasn't in school, you know? I don't know. It's just the library wasn't the thing.
You had an open campus? Like if you didn't have a class, if you had study hall, you could leave?
No, I just mean like I guess that's true. I guess there were like free periods where you could go to the lib. Were there? I don't know. I don't have good memories.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
If Sunnydale High has a closed campus, why was the gate open? Not that it matters. Because Buffy can jump 12 feet straight up in the air.
I don't think that closed campuses lock students in as a general. I didn't have an open campus.
No. I mean,
you were just making a joke.
Yeah.
Sorry. Your audience of one did a bad job of laughing at your joke.
Me of one did a bad job of indicating that it was a joke. So.
Also, was that the principal?
Yeah, that's Principal Flutie.
I couldn't remember if that was him. He seemed so much more annoying in the second episode than he did in the first. I was annoyed by him in the first, but not quite. He really nailed that scene.
Yeah.
I felt very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I really don't care for Principal Flutie.
I was really nervous about Buffy leaving her her Slayer belongings just out in the middle of the room for Joyce to find.
Oh, her trunk? Her trunk full of communion wafers?
Oh, yeah.
There's a huge container of communion wafers, which, to the best of my vampiric knowledge, have absolutely no use to a vampire slayer.
What do you think that's all about?
I think a prop person was like, well, we're getting this holy water. What else goes in here? Also, like 7 heads of garlic, bulbs of garlic. There's no way that those are staying good.
Well, they are in a dark, cool place.
Yeah, but like even in a dark, cool place, what's the shelf life or trunk life of garlic?
You bring up a good question, which is, does rotten garlic still deter vampires?
Amazing question.
Does it have to be fresh?
I feel like it's got to be fresh.
You think? All right, well, we'll have to find a couple vampires and test this out.
Yes.
But yeah, she just, like, Joyce comes in. I missed a lot of the scene staring at her leather jacket. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, the jacket.
But Joyce comes in and she's like, don't do it again, Buffy. Behave. Stop ruining the town and burning everything down.
All the tapes say I have to get used to saying no. For those of you who are, millennials, a tape.
They all know. Millennials all know what tapes are.
Oh, right. Tapes are hip
fashion.
again. Right. Okay.
But yeah, she comes in, she's like, you can sulk up here or you can join me for dinner. And then she goes down and Buffy is just like 100% convinced that Joyce is never going to come back again. She takes all the stuff out of the trunk, leaves it in the middle of the room without even putting her decoy back on top of it.
Yeah. You got to get that decoy back on top.
Like, Mom's going to find out that you're busy slaying vamps.
She clearly wants to be caught.
Yeah.
It's like a cry for help.
It is. At some point, we should have a psychologist on this podcast to help psychoanalyze Buffy Summers.
That would be good.
I feel like there was something else I was going to say. I have other things to say, but there was like a thing connected to that I can't remember anymore. But I do want to talk about when we get to the bronze and the vampires walk in. Because I wrote on I thought I was so smart. And I wrote down, shout out to the vampires for their lighting designer. I thought I was so funny.
Because Luke and his gang enter the bronze. Somebody throws the light switch, so like most of the lights are off, and then Luke ascends to the stage and bam, a spotlight shows up on his face.
So I just thought it was like silly television. And no, then didn't I have to eat my words when Buffy comes in and there is a vampire doing the lighting.
Holding the spotlight.
What a brilliant, it was really nice for me to live through that moment of being like, oh boy, I'm going to make a joke about the lighting. And Joss was like,
wow, yeah, you got
gotcha.
The full narrative arc there for yourself.
Yeah, it was really nice. So that was something that I was excited about. And then on a more serious note, I wrote down people die in this episode, which is important. And what I mean by that note is that I just feel like we saw the first episode and people die. I mean, the first episode opens with, Darla, though. Do we know her name still? I don't know. I've called her Darla now, so now you know her name.
I believe the Master has called her Darla at this point.
Okay, so we see, the opening scene is Darla with, like, random boy. But other than that, nobody else dies in the first episode, right?
Not that I can recall, although there were those local boys showing up in the newspaper that Giles had the presence of mind to circle in red Sharpie.
But like, as coming into this show, you're watching this show for the first time, like, put yourself back to that place. You don't yet know if this is going to be the kind of show, which I think there are a lot of, where there's like danger, but it's always, the heroes always save everyone,
Right.
And
this is not that.
And what was the network that this was on first? Was it the WB?
WB first, I think. interesting.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of like speaking from my experience as a person who's watched some TV, so it's really not thorough, but I feel like the WB had a lot of shows that were kind of like that, right? Where like the hero saves everything. And in this episode, you know, by the time Buffy gets to the bronze, 2 people have died already.
Yeah, at least 2 people. Isn't there like a montage where Luke is feeding on someone and then it flashes to the master?
It's the same girl, I thought, the whole time.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think it's like a bunch of different, which raises the question, where are the bodies? Why isn't there like a pile of bodies when Buffy gets there?
I don't think it was many people. I don't think it was.
Why?
It was because it looked just like who's the girl who plays Chasing Amy?
Joey Lauren Adams?
Yeah, the girl looked like her, and I thought it was her the whole time.
Really?
I thought it was the bouncer, and then I thought one girl. I didn't get the impression that tons of people had died.
That's the impression that I got from like cutting back and forth to the master being like, stronger, give me more! Which, by the way, oh God.
I also, like, is it
Rough.
even proven that Slayer's blood will help him more than... They didn't seem to know that factually. Yeah, because he says something like, Luke, I think, says something like, right when he goes to like bite Buffy's neck, he's like, 1 taste of this and the master will be free, or something.
But the master has been saying, I'm almost free. I don't know if Luke, as the vessel, can hear the master's voice inside of his head.
God, it's so sexual. It's just, they are like,
Truly.
it's so, you're like, he just keeps saying, I'm so close.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
but Slayer's blood does have something that regular blood doesn't have.
Fine, maybe it does, but do you think that Luke actually knows? Like, I just feel like Luke's making shit up as he goes along.
I don't know.
You think he's a well-read vamp?
Well, I think maybe the master's been around for a long.
Like, he wasn't even sure it was a Slayer. He didn't even know. And now he knows. You know, I don't know. Also, you just reminded me of something that happens right when, I guess it's right when she walks into the bronze, she picks up a pool cue. Is that earlier? Is that a different, does she kill many? All I know is there's a scene.
After she leaps down from the catwalk where the guy's doing the lighting, she grabs the pool cue, yes.
She grabs the pool cue. She stabs a vampire, which we never see that vampire. But the pool cue just floats around on the screen. And I was like, I thought they're supposed to turn to dust.
Well, it takes a second for them to turn to dust.
It was a little too long.
Maybe a little too long. Well, they didn't want to do the dust effects on that vampire because they were saving their budget
but Jenny,
Luke.
All they had to do was make the pool cue drop to the ground.
I know that, but I just think they're learning.
No, I know. I'm not...
But I want to hop back to what you were just talking about before because I think it's really important. I mean, I know that it was intentional for because Eric Balfour is like in the credits, I think.
Who's Eric Balfour?
The guy who plays Jesse.
Oh, you know his name? His actor name?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, he was on 6 Feet Under and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I also, for some reason, from watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I got it into my head that his name was the name of the guy who plays the master. For a long time, and then when I like realized my mistake, it like burned into my brain that was Eric Balfour. Anyway, they make it seem very much like he's part of the core group.
Yeah.
Although they don't successfully like endear him to us the way that I'm sure they would have liked to before killing him off in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
It feels intentional. It feels like a world where your friends can die. Not just people die,
right?
But your friends can die. The people close to you can die, and you might not be able to do anything about it.
Right.
Which I feel like is an important distinction.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, right. And like, I mean, just in general, the fact that people can die was a big enough thing to me. But yeah, characters with names can die, especially when they're vampires.
Right. It does kind of mess up your odds.
It leans a little more heavily to the vampires we know than it does to the humans
for now.
We know. I mean, whatever. I don't want to get too into that.
Right.
I want the new watchers to have a nice journey. Gosh, if you're a new watcher, how I envy you. What a journey you have to go on.
Yeah.
Oh, what a journey.
Woo, just keep sticking it out through season 1 here.
Yeah, you gotta hang on with us through season 1. It's a little up and down, but man, is it worth it.
How about that like end of a 90s teen movie with the zippy guitar song happening in the background where all the kids are chirping and Giles is so excited to be living on the mouth of hell. And then he's all like, the world is doomed. And
Yep.
And then credits. Wow. Yep.
It's also a very horror movie as well. I think I talked about that a little bit in the first episode of the podcast, but that like bright and sunny ending to a thing that there's more danger lurking around the corner is just lurking around the corner is so classic horror, I think. Oh, right. I skipped over some notes that I had that are just 3 lines. One says, "We learn it's the Hellmouth." The second one is earthquake. And the third is end of the world.
Nailed it.
Classic trifecta of Buffy notes. But we learn in this episode about the Hellmouth, about the fact that the town is on a Hellmouth.
Although in episode 1, Angel does tell her that they're on the mouth of hell.
Right. But it's like
but
more,
in a mysterious,
we learn in the library
way.
this time,
Right.
And like Willow's doing all her research and they're like, blah, blah, earthquake. And like all these people died and, chaos. Go, you have something to say. I can tell by the look of fire in your eyes.
I was just like glancing through my notes and realizing I didn't mention this. Earlier in the show, when Giles is talking about how vampires were created, that they're like sort of a muddling of blood between a pure demon and humans, and then
they're
the first vampire. They're muddles.
Muggles.
Oh, I thought you were saying muddles like muggles.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Woo. It's hard to keep up. So the first vampire made more vampires, and like they just keep making more and more of their kind. And they're waiting for the animals to die out, humans, so that the old ones, pure demons, can come back.
Right.
Question, when that vision of paradise for vampires occurs, what do they then eat for the rest of time?
A great question.
What happens if a vampire
Maybe
doesn't
the other animals
get...
Also, like, in this argument is the argument that, like, not to take too hard a corner here, but... in that mythology, isn't it like the vampires were here first? And all they want is to...
No, the vampires weren't here first because they were made of human and demon blood together.
Oh, human and demon. Right.
So that chicken and the egg scenario is like pretty...
Great, good, because I didn't want to get into that conversation anyway.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I don't know what they would feed off of. Probably maybe they would just keep some humans around to procreate.
Sick.
It would be
like in an aquarium.
Yeah. Or like fast food, except for
oh boy,
babies, people instead of.
I mean, the conditions are going to go way down. There's going to be growth hormones being implemented.
Oh man,
it's going to get super
we should
industrial.
Let them know. We should let them know.
Yeah,
that free range humans are much better.
Yeah. Happy meat is tasty. Happy blood is tasty blood.
Yeah. And I loved, my note out of End of the World was just like a general one, but I do really love the moment between, and we really are skipping back and forth, but I really love the moment between Joyce and Buffy, where she's like, it's always the end of the world for every 16-year-old.
You don't even know, Joyce.
Right? But it's such a nice, because in this one instance, it is the end of the world. But also, tiny shout out to the fact that, chill out, Mom. Maybe there are problems that I have that are a big deal that you might not know about, and stop belittling me just because you're old.
Parents just don't understand.
They just don't. Joyce doesn't get it. And even if Buffy wasn't a vampire slayer, maybe she would have something serious on her mind, and maybe it would matter to her.
Yeah.
And maybe Joyce should take that seriously.
Maybe she should.
That's all I'm saying.
We should let her know.
Joyce!
Yes. Is there anything else we need to say about this episode? Are you out of notes?
I'm out of notes. Shout out to Harmony. Cordelia, love you forever.
Mm-hmm.
Willow, nice move with that deliver
Ooh,
button.
Yes, indeed.
That was nice. It was nice. A little moment for Willow to be like,
yeah. A lot of good burns in this episode.
Yeah, seriously. And a lot of good outfits. I noticed that Xander was wearing a shirt that I would typically expect to see on Willow. Yeah.
What do you mean? What did it look like?
It was like a polyester button down that had green mushrooms on it. I think they were mushrooms.
And he was wearing it mostly buttoned over a long sleeve white t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the 1990s.
I'm telling you, the Limited too. They really got their mileage off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think.
Yeah, they sold. That show sold a lot of clothes for them.
Absolutely.
Delia's.
Cordelia's.
Oh my God.
She just looked so confused.
Is that the connection?
I mean, I was just making a word
But like,
joke.
what if?
But what if that's where it came from?
Maybe.
We should find out.
We'll do some research.
But yeah, that's all I've got for this episode. I'm excited. I'm excited to continue forward. This was our like setting the tone, right? Because this is the pilot. Really, was the 2 episodes together.
Yeah.
So now we've set the tone. We've picked up some of our core crew on both sides of the line.
Yeah, ready to roll.
And we're ready to move.
For sure. So next week's episode will be Witch.
Which.
But until then, you can follow us on Twitter at BufferingCast, or you can email us at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
I'm Kristin Russo. Sidebar, I think I am a witch, so I'm really excited about the next episode.
Wow.
I mean, I do. You know it. It's true.
I know.
I'm serious. And you can find me on Twitter at Kristin Noeline. It's hard. KristinNoeline. It's my middle name. I can't help it. Or just at Everyone is Gay.
And I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, and you can find me under that name on most social platforms, Twitter and whatnot.
Until next week. Oh, that was beautiful.
Hey, just a quick note on today's song. For all two-parter episodes connected by a to be continued, we'll be writing two-parter songs. So today's song is a continuation of last week's song, and as such will sound harmonically familiar, but lyrically brand new. Woo! Here we go. So hey, about that harvest, well, it seems to be quite nigh, but first the master has to finish gouging out this minion's eye. Turns out Willow sure can hack, and Xander likes to tag along. Giles takes off his glasses and then he puts them right back on. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. It's harvest time. Welcome to the Hellmouth. I can jump really high. Welcome to the Hellmouth. One girl in all the whatever. Jesse's super dead, the vampires made him one of them. And is it possible that angels never even had one friend? Anyway, Luke hit the bronze to feed, and things were looking bad. Till I decapitated someone with a symbol, which was red. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. It's harvest time. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Cordelia died. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Thank God she made it. And so did everybody else.
I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Burntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I uncover the blasphemous truth of a plague-ridden world, that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Burntwine, coming January 2nd, wherever podcasts are available.